The only thing powerful enough to distract me from darker thoughts is food. Food is my go-to drug that takes my pain away. And I love cooking for Cheyenne because Cheyenne loves my eggs and bacon. Food is more than just a pleasure. It's my reason for existing.
Hello and welcome back to the Creation Motivation Podcast, and today we're talking about Dolly. And right away, I've got to say, this was really hard to watch. Every time I watch an episode of My 600 Pound Life, I think, yeah, this one is the worst one. This one is so depressing. With the exception of Crystal, the episode with Crystal, I thought she was pretty average, normal person. She does obviously have huge issues with food addiction and things like that. But every time I watch, like I said, I'll think, man, this seems like the worst episode I've ever seen. Of course, you know, there's episodes like the Asante brothers and really bad ones out there that I can't stand to watch. But this one comes really close to being one of the worst I've seen because it reminded me of the show Quarter Ton Teen, which is like 600 Pound Life, except they are teens. And that's really sad when it's young people, when it's children practically. It just brings me to tears because I was overweight when I was a teenager and it was really hard. And I wasn't obese, but I was different. And kids can be so cruel. And it's supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life where you have all of these things happening. And I don't want to rant about that, but this gave me this vibe. Because Dolly's on the younger side. A lot of the patients on this show are in their 30s or 40s or even 50s. Dolly is 26. And if you guys know, spoilers right here, I'm going to just talk about it all. And it might be a long video because so much happened in this episode, but spoilers, she did recently pass away. It was in the news a little while ago, and that was what sparked me to look into it and watch it. So this episode is from season 10. It is a later season, so the episode is very, very, very long, and a lot happens. There's some filler. The reason I like the newer show, 6,000 Diaries, I always get the name wrong, but the reason I like the newer show is because it is a little shorter. They do reduce the amount of filler in it, the amount of time in it. The patients actually have these video diaries. But anyways, this is a later episode and it's over an hour long. I'm sure with ads, it's 2 hours long, which I think is very, very long to sit through watching any show, much less a full-length movie. But a lot happens. As usual, in the beginning, it shows a little bit of their background. It shows them wake up. It shows them take a shower. And she, for her age, she is pretty ill already, you can tell.
When I wake up miserable. The first thing I feel is pain from being overweight. Carrying around this much weight hurts more than anyone can ever imagine. My whole body hurts.
She has oxygen. She has this little tube in her nose. I think they call it a cannula. I probably said it wrong. But she has this in her nose and she can barely get up. Her best friend comes and helps her take a shower. And it's really sad right off the bat. And it reminded me of Crystal because her dad and her best friend also were taking care of her and helping her. And it reminded me of how they really, really love her. You can tell they love her, but at the same time, they are enabling her and downright sabotaging her before she can even start a journey or get her weight under control. So I just really felt bad for her in the beginning. Just this whole first sequence was hard to watch. Her best friend, apparently they're like sisters. She's also overweight. And it's just this dynamic between them that you can't tell. You know they're trying to help. You know they just want her to feel good and be happy about herself and not be in pain. But it's just really sad at the end of the day. The next scene, they have this breakfast together. And I'm sorry, I really try to be neutral and I really try not to judge when I'm watching this because I myself, like I said, I'm overweight, but I couldn't help but judge. Like, okay, the breakfast they made, they used 15 eggs, 15 between the both of them. For my whole entire family, when I cook, I'm talking maybe Christmas breakfast for everyone in the family. Maybe I'll use 15 eggs, maybe even 18 eggs, one of those big cartons. But 15 eggs for 2 adults, I don't know, that got to me. I was shocked already, and it just kept going. The next scene, they get these giant handfuls of cheese, and she throws it in, and she even makes the comment, I'm generous with my cheese, and I'm generous with the cheese. And she doesn't hold back. So she throws all this cheese in there, which I can't even imagine the salt content. And she cooks it up, and they split it between each other, and they eat it. And then it's not just that. It's not just the eggs. Okay, they sit and they have this huge meal. They've got sausages, this giant bowl of sausages, straight up sausages. And I think there's even an additional plate. I don't know. I just saw a lot of sausages, and they have these giant Texas toast style slices of bread, a lot. And they're eating at the table, and they're eating together, and you can tell they do this probably every day or every other day, or just quite often. And they finish at the table, and then the very next scene, Dolly shows up to this couch, and I guess she refers to it several times in the episode as her spot, her little area, which I get. I have my own spot. Everyone has their own favorite spot, right? But she comes in and sits there with another full plate of food. To be completely fair, I am not sure if it's the same plate or not. I didn't see that she had an empty plate and refilled it. It could be the same plate, but it looks like it's a whole new plate, a second plate, and she's just eaten again. So it just shocked me. I didn't know how to react. But even still, that is a ton of food. That's just way too much food for anyone to be eating. And it's not even the worst on the show. There are other episodes. You can look it up. There are some crazy meals out there. One lady had 3 pizzas from Domino's and a big old brownie thing. And there's just so much out there. The other shocking part after this is they have this grocery shopping scene, and I kid you not, she gets a whole basket of these little slices of cake. And I've seen those slices of cake, local Vons or Ralph's, and they're really delicious and they're really tempting. And, I'll eat a good slice for myself, maybe even 2. She fills the bottom of her cart with them. That was obviously shocking. I'm sure it's to be split up into different days of the week, right? It's not for one sitting or one day, but still, just the amount of food that she wanted. And her mother, you can see she's not quite as sweet as Crystal's dad was. She's definitely at her breaking point, and her childhood was a little rougher than Crystal's. And, I just compare the two because they are pretty similar. But Dolly's childhood, she was already well over 100 pounds at 6 years old, which that's just shocking in itself. And her dad did have addiction issues with drugs, which definitely is linked to her food addiction as well. You see it from your parents. They, towards the end of his life, they got closer together. And then right when it seemed like they were being close and finally spending time together, he passed away. So that can definitely lead to trauma for sure. And in that case, I can relate, because losing someone that close to you, it changes you a lot. And it's just such a big gaping hole in your heart. And I get these vibes from Dolly that she's definitely experiencing some kind of infantile syndrome when she was growing up, where they did kind of baby her a little bit. A lot of kids, especially these days, we're spoiled, especially here in the US. We're just spoiled. And then later it was confirmed that she has some mental issues. I think they said ADD. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I think they said ADD, bipolar, a couple of mental issues like that. And you can tell there's definitely something off just from her face, because she does have this gaze, if you pay attention, whenever Dr. Now hands her something to read, or she's concentrating on the conversation, listening to you talk, she has this kind of gaze in her eyes. I don't know if it's a habit she herself built or it's just part of her issues. I don't know, but there's definitely something a little off, and I do feel empathetic to her for that, because that does make things more difficult. Growing up, she was bullied relentlessly. Her teachers held her back just because of all of her issues, and just a lot going on with this poor girl. And I got emotional with this one. Every step of the way, it seemed like it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. From the bullying to her whole life, just relentless. I can imagine how it was, because I was bullied a little bit myself. Like I said, I was a little overweight, but just being a little different. Kids go at you. They come at you hard, and they're not nice about it. So moving on, she does eventually get to Dr. Now. Things seem hopeful, very, very hopeful in the beginning. He really seems to like her. I always joke around with my family that Dr. Now never smiles, but in this episode you do catch him smiling a couple of times, which was cute. When she first weighed in, she said that she thought she was around 550, and boy do I know about that. There's a time, as a yo-yo dieter especially, you have your on time and your off time. Your yo-yo, right? You yo-yo down, you yo-yo up. You have the time when you're on track and doing good, and you have the time when you're off track and ignoring everything. And that's the bad part. When you get into that denial phase where you refuse to weigh yourself, where you tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna maintain. Of course I am. I'm staying at 550. Of course. It's easy. Maintaining's easy. You tell yourself that. But if you're not consistently weighing in, your weight's gonna creep up, no matter what. I'm sorry, especially if you have a food addiction, which Dolly most definitely does. So when she weighed in, she was at 593, which is a good 40 plus pounds over what she predicted. So obviously she definitely was not paying attention, and that just added right on up. And so Dr. Now gives her the goal to lose 60 pounds in 2 months. He talks to her mother specifically. And I really do like her mother. Her mother is down to earth. She's got a square head on her shoulders, but somewhere along the way, they really babied Dolly and they lost control.
My mom's not feeding me too much.
Who bring her food? Does she get it herself?
I cut what she eats between meals.
Cookies, brownies, chips.
Okay, who buys cookies, who buys brownies, who buys chips?
So sometimes Mom and I buy them. Sometimes we get it from food pantries.
So, Mom, if I put it all together, I don't think you're helping Dolly to lose weight, because you provide the food, so I'm going to change that.
And some people just have food addiction issues, no matter what style of parenting you do. We don't know. We weren't there, right? We didn't grow up with them. So I can't really judge on that. And I shouldn't. We shouldn't judge. But she has a square head on her shoulders. I really like her. She basically immediately denies any responsibility for Dolly, which I understand as a mother myself. You want to think that you have the best interest in your child's heart. You want to think that you're doing everything you can for their health. But obviously something's off. And Dr. Now confronts her. And she says that it's Dolly snacking and going off with her friend and eating all of these things. But at the end of the day, her mother's buying food for her. Her mother is cooking for her. And Dolly's going back for all these seconds and third helpings. And it just out of control. So there is responsibility in all parties. She does promise after this to keep a stricter eye on her and to stop buying junk, and that things are going to get better. But things do not get better. Things get considerably worse. This whole episode just kept getting worse and worse and worse. It seems like things are going well. They get home and Dolly immediately makes a comment that her mother cleared out the cabinets, cleared out the refrigerator, cleared out everything. And she was really upset about that because she kind of wanted to ease into it, baby steps kind of thing. But everything resonated with me because I understand completely. Whenever I finally get back on track, sometimes it takes me a couple of tries. It takes me a couple of baby steps. But there are other times where you gotta do it cold turkey. There's just no way. If you don't do it cold turkey, just having a little bite of that sugar, that awful sugar that's so addictive, gets you right back off the wagon again, gets you right back into binge eating. So I get it. It's jarring that her mother did that and just emptied the fridge like that, but in the same time she cares about her and wants her to be successful. I get it. But it just gets worse. After this, Dolly starts making these excuses to be away from her mother, and she wants to leave the house, and she'll say that she's gonna go for a walk, and her mother will take her to the park, and she literally says it on camera that she tells everyone that she's going off and she's taking these walks and getting her exercise in. However, in reality, she's going and feeding the ducks. She's feeding them bread, and what she said in this moment really got to me as well.
It's some exercise, but then I don't really exercise because I'm too tired usually. So instead I like to feed the birds or the ducks. Sometimes I wish I was one of them because they just eat whatever as much as they can. And their moms help them eat. And it feels unfair that I have this problem, but I don't blame the ducks.
Because she said, this is an exact quote, but it's a sum of what I heard. She said, "I wish I could be the baby ducks because they get to eat all day and their mothers bring them food." Something along that. I thought that was the weirdest thing any person could ever say. That was such a weird comment. I'm sorry. That was odd. That was just odd. Okay. But things go from bad to worse again.
And not long after that, he invited me to come stay with him in his bedroom at his mom's, because that's where he was living at the time. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna move in with you. After a few months living with Ricky would always say mean things to me. And then there would be times when he was abusive.
They mentioned this abusive ex earlier in the episode, and apparently he's some kind of feeder because he feeds her all this food, and he was bad for her, and he's toxic, and he calls her names, and he's controlling and manipulative. But she says her mother is controlling and manipulative too, so she goes right back to him, even though previously she moved in with her mother to get away from him. Yeah, that can happen. There is the whole issue of abusive relationships and what that can do to a victim, and the victim goes back again and again, and there's all that, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Anyway, she ends up going back to him, and there is this really sweet scene of them together where he's helping her work out. All the while I'm watching it, I felt that it was fake. I felt he was faking it for the camera. I felt it, and I felt so guilty. I felt so bad because I was like, man, I'm judging this guy too hard. I really am. Look how sweet he's being, helping her walk, helping her do her exercise. So sweet. But lo and behold, a little while later, she ends up leaving him. She leaves him because, let's see, he was too controlling. He was mean. His controlling behavior came back. His toxic behavior, his calling her names or whatever he was doing, emotional control, all of this stuff. And so she leaves. And she ends up in this homeless facility, some kind of homeless facility. And she meets Philip, another new guy. I just couldn't believe it because she's staying in this hotel with this guy she just met named Philip. And he's using his disability checks to pay for the hotel rooms. And they're using food stamps to get groceries and continue eating, which those are very good services. They are. And I'm not going to get into that either. But man, Doctor Now does confront her about this. He says it best that she's out of control. They have another appointment, and they have 2 appointments actually. And each one, she does not hit her goal. Granted, she loses a good chunk of weight. Not a lot though, nowhere close. Minimal amounts of weight loss. But he basically confronts her. He says, "Where is your mom? Who is this random guy? Who are these people? Why are you making your life so unstable?" He calls her unstable. She thrives on instability. I guess as an excuse to overeat is what he was getting at. So he orders her to go and have psychotherapy, which very important to have some kind of therapy, especially for someone like Dolly. I think she should have had therapy her whole life, or some kind of mental health. It's really important. And she does go, and her mom is ordered to go too. And Dr. Now says, do not come back without your mom. I want stability in your life. I want you to have a place to live, etc., etc.
At first, nothing at all, really.
You're kind of flat when you talk about this stuff. This is kind of emotional thing, sort of flat.
I just kind of feel done with everything.
Dolly, one of the consequences of having an unreliable dad is it can make a kid feel worthless.
I do feel worthless.
Right.
I have no self-worth.
Because kids interpret mistreatment by parents as being about their worth. And I'm worried that you have, and I'm hitting on something, aren't I? Your sense of worth is like this big, right?
The therapy session was actually really touching and emotional to me. Dr. Paradise talks to her and he says, I don't want you to be so negative and so hard on yourself. Can you tell me something you're good at? And she says she's good at failing. And that just broke my heart when she said that. They bring the mom into it, and it's actually pretty touching. She seems like she has this rough, tough, gruff exterior, but she is supportive and she is loving. So Dr. Paradise gives Dolly the goal of becoming more independent and doing things for herself, and maybe getting herself a walkthrough of an apartment, getting her own apartment, her own place, just something along those lines. Of course, she doesn't do that. She ends up going and doing laundry with her best friend, who she just met a year ago. And that is her independence. And by the way, her friend is helping her. It's not quite independent when your friend is helping you out. Just saying, just nitpicking a little bit on this. So the end of the episode, it's the last appointment, and her mother's just done. Her mother basically tells Dr. Now, lays it all out. She tells him that Dolly just likes instability. She's addicted to instability. She goes to unstable relationships, and she seems like she doesn't want help. And all she wants is for her to become a little bit more independent and to want to do something with her own life, and she needs help with that. And so in the end, Dr. Now said that he would continue treating Dolly and helping her because she has had a little bit of improvement. She's lost about 40 pounds over the course of this whole episode, which is not much. Most people have lost 100, 200 pounds in the same time span, especially after they get surgery. But she's not approved, which she thought she would be somehow. But she's not approved for surgery, and he tells her to continue the therapy, and they'll consider surgery again later if she gets things going. So it was kind of a sad, emotional ending. The therapy, the appointment, everything just got to me. This whole abusive ex thing, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, he invited her to come back as a sister wife. He's married to another woman. And I'm sorry. He invited her to come and get married with her and be like sister wives, like the reality show. I thought that was insane. But this is getting kind of long, and I'm going to wrap it up here. It was so sad, and just knowing that she recently passed makes it all the more depressing because I was rooting for her. I really like her. I think she's just misguided, and she does have issues, or she did have issues, therapy issues, very sad issues, latching onto these addictions for maybe relief from just the day-to-day sadness and feeling like you're stuck and going in this, jumping from one bad relationship to another after your father was a drug addict. And oh my gosh, it just was all so upsetting and sad. And I really wish things could have ended different for her. And I don't know. I'm kind of depressed and down after watching it, to be honest. I really like watching that show to be inspired and motivated, but this one just got me down. So this one's for Dolly.